My hair is frizzy, frizzy, frizzy. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney, and if you are new here, welcome. So today I'm going to be doing a full Fenty face for you. I got a bunch of new Fenty products here. I'm super excited to try out. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So first things first, I'm going to be moisturizing with the new Fenty Skin Moisturizer with SPF. Let's see how this moisturizer works on my skin. I'm really excited to see. It's super soothing and smoothing. It has a really nice fragrance to it. It smells like fresh berries almost. It smells really, really good. I'm excited to try this with the cleanser and the fat water soon in my next video, so please stay tuned for that. Okay, so that created a really nice base for my makeup. So moving on, I'm gonna keep the hydration going because my skin has been particularly dry lately, so I'm gonna stay away from the mattifying foundations. And I'm just going to be using the Filtr Hydrating Foundation today. This is in the color 410. The colors are supposed to match with the original foundation that was put out, the mattifying one. So I'm hoping that this is my exact shade still. Kind of looks like a match, but also when I'm in and out of the sun, my skin kind of fluctuates with shades, so hopefully it still works out. But because the mattifying one is a good match, I'm sure this will be as well. So I'm just going to be pumping a couple squirts on my hand just to warm up the product. It's not necessarily needed because this is a kind of a runnier foundation than the mattifying foundation on her line is. So actually it almost seems like the same consistency, just a little bit more liquidy. So I'm going to be blending that out using this beauty blender, beauty sponge here. Oh, I love how lightweight this is. Doesn't feel heavy on my skin at all. I really love the coverage it's giving, and I can still see some of the marks on my face, so you can see the skin, but it's overall evening out the skin tone. It's not particularly making the texture on my skin stand out too much because I do have very texturized skin. You can't really tell on the camera, but I do. That's something that I kind of struggle with and minimize by doing the micro scrubbing or exfoliating, but ultimately, you know, most skin is textured. Mine particularly is quite textured. I do suffer with acne and hyperpigmentation and dark spots and larger pores, so having a good base is essential for me when putting on makeup, and doing my makeup a little bit lighter also helps with not only longevity but overall wear and how my makeup will actually look. This is really pretty. It's giving me a really dewy finish. I'm gonna add more, just a little bit more in the problem areas of my face, those areas that I have any like dark spots from acne, just any scarring from that. So I'm just going to go in and cover that up a little bit more. I really like how this feels on my skin though, and it pairs really well with the moisturizer on her line. Like everything seems to go together on her line. Everything is quite unified, and I really like that because it means it was really well thought out and she wasn't just trying to put out product. Everything goes well together. And that's always appreciative of a brand that really thinks about that. So next I'm going to be using the Fenty Matchstick in the color Espresso, and I'm going to be contouring a little bit around the areas that I want to add some dimension depth to. So around my jawline, around my cheeks, chin, underneath my lip a little bit, and just slightly on my nose. And today I'm actually going to just blend it on my nose with my finger. I tend to have an issue with it moving around too much on my nose, and I really want it to remain in one particular area. Since I have more of a rounded peak on my nose, or more of a rounded tip, I want it to be a little bit smaller there, but I don't want to completely change the shape of my nose. I just want it to be a little bit more defined, if that makes sense. And this is very, very subtle, so you may not even be able to see this on camera, but once I put all the powder and everything, it'll be a little bit more noticeable. And then I'm going to take my beauty blender again and just pat into that area. And I'm going to blend out all of the contour region, forehead. I'm trying to bring that down a little bit. Then my cheeks. Then my jawline. And I like to go in with the darker shade first to add the dimension instead of both my highlight or my highlight being first, because I can really fix things up with the lighter shade, and then really carve out any areas that I may want a little bit more structure to. Getting the temples there so it looks cohesive with the face. And don't forget to blend all areas. See, really dewy, and I really like that, but I'm also, it's a different look for me. But we're gonna see how that all turns out towards the end. Okay, and I'm also gonna add this cream foundation here, or what is this? The Cheek Cream Bronzer. I want to see how it performs mainly, so that's why I'm going to be using it today. But I'm going to be using it right above that contour area to add a little bit more dimension and to kind of concentrate it. And I'm using this Morphe brush 427 to get that in the areas that I want. And I may even go back in a little bit with this after I add my highlight because it is a little bit closer to my skin tone, and it won't be as scary to go in, so I won't mess anything up. And this is giving like a really nice airbrush bronze. I'm like really living for it. But it's also very subtle. And again, this will pop out more when I put the highlight. Okay, so next I'm going to be adding the Pro Filtr Concealer in the color 370 for my highlight underneath my eyes and any other areas that I want to add or attract light to. Right here where I get my creases, a little bit above my lip, I like to add a little bit of my Cupid's bow on the chin, forehead region, and down my nose. And I'm going to add a little bit here on my jaw to again add more structure. And then I'm going to blend all that out with my sponge. And I'm also letting that sit underneath my eye just a little bit longer than the rest of my face, so that really sticks into the skin and hopefully doesn't move around as much and gets concentrated in the areas that I have it. But it also really depends on the formula. So I kind of messed up my contour here, so I'm going to go back in and fix it. But as you can see how much light makes a difference there. So I'm going to be going back in and fixing that. It's going to be a very easy fix. I'm actually going to use a different brush for that altogether. And be sure whenever you're blending by your eyes, also move your nose over so that way you can really get into the creases of your face. Also going right in the eyelid here to color correct just a little bit, brighten up the eye overall, and that way there's a little bit of a base there for my snap shadow when I am ready to apply that. Now I'm going to go in on the clean side of my brush and just pat away at all the areas that I just blended to blend them in with the contour. That way everything again looks cohesive. Okay, and then to add a little bit more depth because I like it, I'm going to go back in with my Espresso shade here with the brush that I used earlier. I'm just going to tap it lightly into that area and then diffuse that color out. Really concentrating it more towards the back and doing the same thing on the other side. Just using the same amount of product that's on the brush, just kind of sharing it with each side. Blending that back into the temple here and then bringing that into the forehead like so. Jawline, don't forget. And then one more time back into those areas that I had to highlight, just using the excess that's already on my beauty blender and then just kind of blending that all together. Okay, like so. And then as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of a darker shade on my nose. So I'm going to use this smaller brush here, smaller angle brush, and I'm just going to tap it into the cream bronzer and add a little bit of dimension in those areas that I added some earlier in my nose that kind of got taken away with the highlight. And then kind of bringing that to the side here so it doesn't just look like one line. Also bringing that up a little bit into the crease of my eye so it'll all look together. The nose bridge will go down. Very subtle changes will make really big difference. And it looks pretty natural still. Notice like I haven't gone too harsh with the colors. They looked a little bit more contrasting earlier, but they actually work out once you blend it all together. Okay, the only thing I'm missing is the lighter powder to put underneath as a brightening powder underneath my eyes. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm using the Bakerie Flower powder. I'm just going to use this little sponge here, a little dryer sponge here, so I don't mess it up. And I'm just going to be applying that underneath my eyes. And I'm going to slightly bake. I'm not a big fan of baking, but because this look is so dewy, I want it to tone down the shine a little bit, especially underneath my eyes, so that way this under eye crease isn't as prominent. I actually want to flatten the area underneath my eye, make it look a little bit more youthful. We're not anti-aging, we're pro-aging, but I still want to look good, okay? Okay, and then I'm just going to actually pat that into the eye because we're not going to be brushing it away because I don't want to move that powder around. I'm also getting on the side of my nose here, just kind of stopping where I wanted that line of contour to end. And then I'm going to go back in with that powder and reapply that to, or apply that into the areas that I want to tone down the shine just a little bit. And I'm doing this very lightly. I don't want it to be too powdery of a look, and I don't want it to feel cakey or drying or anything like that. Although this powder is very fine and beautifully made and makes it to where your skin is still breathable. So definitely check out the flower powder from Beauty Bakerie if you have not already, because it is perfect. Okay, next I'm going to go into the Fenty powder in the shade Hazelnut here, and I'm just going to be using my Morphe E4 brush and then tapping that, and I'm going to tap that into the areas that I did not add that powder and just kind of setting the foundation in place. And then I'm going to be going in my beauty blender. And lastly, for the face, I'm going to be using the Fenty bronzer in the color Mocha Mami. Oh, my camera cut off. I'm so sad. Okay, well, I went ahead and used the Fenty Mocha Mami bronzer and just bronzed my face. I'm just finalizing the touches there. And as you can see, even with the hydrating foundation and all this powder, it still feels, and well, you know how it feels, but it feels very light on my skin. And you can still see a little bit of dewiness still popping out from within. So it almost looks like a glow from within when I do both. So it's actually working out pretty nice. It's not too flat, and I really like that. I'm just going to finish with the powder, and I'm going to carve out this area right here to really add that structure into my contour area. And then I'm just going to be pressing that in. And I love that makeup can really structure your face like this, but once you really like learn the lighting and everything like that and where you want your shadows to be placed, that really helps with the placement of your contour, any defining features that you want, overall the application. And again, also depends on your face shape, but this is exactly how I do it. It works out for me really well. Okay, so now the fun part, I'm going to be using my eyeshadow palette, the Snap Shadows 3D Neutrals palette, and these are some really gorgeous colors. I can't wait to dive right in. First, for my transition shade, I'm going to use this orange here, and for that, I'm going to be using my Morphe E27 brush to blend it. Ooh, that's some really nice pigment, and it seems to blend really beautifully. It almost comes off a little bit more of like a reddish orange, which is perfect for those warmer looks that you're trying to get, or just works overall as a really great transition for bolder looks or warmer tone looks. That color is gorgeous, as you can see here. It just works so beautifully in the crease, and it makes me excited because I can go in really with any eye look with this kind of start. I'm going to use this burgundy type of color here. It's like this reddish brown shade. And for that, I'm going to use the Morphe M330 brush, kind of like a more pointier tip, as you can see. So it's going to really help me concentrate that color in. And I'm just going to be adding that into the crease and also the outer V of my eye. And then I'm going to go back in to that orange shade just slightly and blend those two together with the Morphe E27 brush that I used previously. And then just kind of blowing that out, giving it a nice V shape, kind of making my eye look a little bit bigger in the corner here. And then I'm going to add this beautiful shimmery pink shade. I'm going to add that with my finger. Just tap that into place. Oh, that's so pretty. You see that? And I'm going to be adding that all over my lid here. I'm bringing it up, and it's like a really nice sparkly, like a champagne pop to it. So it's really, really gorgeous. And it really works with any kind of look. But this neutrals look in particular, it's gorgeous. Oh, it's so pretty. It almost has like a little glimmer of purple in there with a little bit of peach, some mauve. So gorgeous. I'm gonna bring that like up really high because I love a nice shimmery look to really open up the eye. You see how open this eye looks compared to this eye? Oof, it's so pretty. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. Other eye. Really bring that shade up. Don't be afraid of your shimmers. Shimmers are your friends just as much as mattes are. So then I'm gonna go back into this purple here. Oh, right here. Just kind of tap that into the places where I want to continue to add depth. Bringing it up, smoking it out. Again, bringing it up, smoking it out. And then back in with that orange. Right at the edge, close to the brow bone, blending it all together. So with a smaller brush, I'm going to be using this pink shade here, and I'm just going to pop that in the lower corner. And I'm going to bring that color down just a bit, and I'm going to blend it with a fluffier brush, the one that I used earlier. And I'm going to take a little bit of that orange right at the edge of it, just kind of bring that color down. Again, just keeping it towards the outer corner of my eye here, and I'm also blending that in to the corner. And if you need to clean up a little bit, this would be a good time to do so with a little bit of powder. Is it right at the corner, right at the edges where you want everything to stop? Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit funky with it, so bear with me. A little funky. You can use the Trophy Wife highlighter here, and I'm gonna pop that in the inner corner of my eye. I'm actually gonna bring that up a little bit. I'm going to add any excess right underneath my brow bone, a little bit of shimmer. Okay, I'm going to do my brows and I will be right back. Okay, so my eyes are finished. I went ahead and added some mascara as well as to my brows. And for my brows, I used the Brow Definer Pencil by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And for my lashes, I used Great Lash, but I really need to try out the Fenty one, so I kind of cheated with this. Please forgive me. But I'm going to continue on with the Fenty products, so I'm going to be using Fenty in Summertime Wine. It's going to go really well with this eyeshadow. I'm super excited to see how it's going to look. I'm just going to be applying that with my fingertips here. Okay, and then I'm just going to be patting that on. Oh, that's really pretty. Oh, okay, I think I put it too close to the apples of my cheek, so I'm going to blend that out quite a bit. Didn't realize how pigmented that was going to be. Definitely with this Know Your Face shape, because I messed up here, I'm going to have to fix it. It looks really pretty. Again, something I have to add a little bit more to the outside of my face here, because I don't want to look like a clown. Oh, it kind of shears out though. Okay, it's working, it's working. First impressions of this are really, really good. Again, just knowing where to apply it, starting probably the back area and then working your way down really works out. But luckily it shears out quite a bit, so it looks really good once it's actually all applied. That's pretty. Okay. I'm gonna go on with a little bit less this time. See, that made like such a big difference. I love me some blush, but I don't want to look too red, especially when you have a lot of red going on or pink going on. Yeah, see, that made such a big difference. I should have definitely concentrated that more on the outside of my cheek. But now I know. Just going kind of like right above my contour area, right where my cheekbone actually is, to get the color where I want it. See, right here it's a little bit harsh, so that was a lesson learned for me. So knowing, again, your face structure is really important, because in makeup we make mistakes, but we also learn like what works best for us, you know? And what works for somebody may not work out for you. Knowing your face is essential. So next time I'm definitely going to be going in a little bit more towards the outside region rather than inside, because I don't want my face to look too red all under this area that I just worked on. So I'm going to fix that really quick and I'll be right back. So next I'm going to be using this sugar scrub to exfoliate my lips a little bit before I put on this mattifying lipstick. I love how this feels. It feels like a really fine sugar, but it also helps to like hydrate because it feels like a balm mixed with like a sugar. So I love that. My lips are all soft and ready. I'm going to add some lip liner first, and I'm going to use the NYX Suede lip liner in the color Prune. And then I'm going to use Candy Venom. This is a really pretty pink, really bold pink shade. I'm going for the whole pink thing, if you couldn't tell. So I'm going to add that. Then I'm going to use this Prune again and just go in the edges. I like to add a little bit of a highlights on the Cupid's bow. So I'm going to use that pink shade that I had earlier. I'm just going to tap a little bit of that on my Cupid's bow. And I'm also going to put a little bit in the center. I like a little bit more like a contour on my lips. So I'm going to add a little bit of a brown shade towards the edges. Make sure the lipstick on the teeth. Boom. And top it all off with glass slipper. So I'm just going to use this concealer brush because I don't want to mess up the tip of this. So I'm going to add a little bit of that on and then swipe it on my lips for some gloss. So second to last step, hydrate with some Morphe setting spray. And the last step is make sure you kiss your loved one because these are some kissable lips and they should never go to waste. So. Okay, so that completes today's look. Another pink look. I know. But I really wanted to use this Candy Venom and I love this neutral pink eye look. So yeah, I do what I want, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe and comment down in the comment section on what you want to see next. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Bye!